Some say the dinosaurs went extinct 66 million years ago, but we actually have extinct dinosaurs living among us, the modern bird. From fossil evidence, we know that birds evolved from a group of theropod dinosaurs known as the para-Aves. Included in the para-Aves is a subgroup Aviale, which was defined in 2001 as dinosaurs who possessed feathered wings used in flapping flight. From Aviale descended the Ornithurae, who displayed even more features of modern birds. From Ornithurae, the Aves, which include all modern birds, evolved. In recent years, many intermediary fossils, such as Archaeopteryx, have been found that denote the evolutionary and developmental steps from dinosaurs to birds.
Archaeopteryx's feathers were remarkably modern, with interlocking barbules and asymmetrical veins, features characteristic of flight feathers in crown group Aves. So how did Archaeopteryx's feathers evolve? Much of what we know comes from Richard Prum's study of modern feather development, from which he determined the order in which developmental changes would need to have arisen to allow evolution of the structures seen in modern feathers. His Evo-Devo model of feather evolution starts with the first feather follicle, which was undifferentiated and produced a monofilamentous feather. The follicle then differentiated into barb bridges, producing a tuft of unbranched filaments. Helical displacement of barb bridges and formation of a posterior barb locus could then evolve, as well as differentiation of the peripheral cells of barb bridges to produce pairs of barbules. The order of these steps is uncertain, but together they produced a bilaterally symmetrical feather with a rachis and secondary branching. Evolution of barbules enabled development of differentiated barbules that interlock, and formation of the posterior barb locus enabled development of asymmetry through lateral displacement of this locus. The fossil record supports the model to an extent, showing an increasing complexity of feathers in the lead-up to Aviale and feather specimens that match most of the stages. However, some researchers have criticised the model for its abrupt stages, suggesting gradual transitions in morphology and underlying developmental mechanisms were more likely, and they are supported by the presence of intermediate feather morphologies in the fossil record.
Over the course of avian evolution, a major shift has occurred in the anatomy of the skull, including shortening of the face, enlargement of the cranium, and thinning of the bones. These were all features identified in Archaeopteryx that got progressively more exaggerated with the evolution of Aves. This is due to a type of heterochrony called progenetic pedomorphosis, in which truncation of ancestral ontogeny occurs. This results in an organism that has reached sexual maturity while still retaining juvenile traits in adult life, meaning later developmental stages never occur. Cranial kinesis allows for the movement of bones relative to one another due to thin, bendable bones with lots of flexible connective tissue. Pedomorphosis plays a role in this by causing orbital and temporal bones to retain their near embryonic states, which would have an impact on the resulting skull kinesis. It remains unclear if this was an adapted trait for avian feeding through use of a beak, or just a consequence of pedomorphosis. Also, pedomorphic enlargement of the eyes and brain started in non-avian Maniraptoran dinosaurs and continued through the divergence of Aves. These enlargements are responsible for the distinct shape of the skull, such as the ballooning of cranial elements outwards, particularly in the posterior part. In addition, the nasal capsules are small and the olfactory bulbs are reduced. This perhaps is to compensate for the enlarged brain and eyes, which were likely favoured to aid flight and sensory elaboration. The avian cranium contains 7 independently evolving modules, with the face and cranial vault evolving much faster than other regions due to their differing developmental origins. This process is known as mosaic evolution and results in many transitional forms, such as Archaeopteryx, which has a combination of reptilian and avian features. As a result of this mosaic evolution, a huge diversification of Aves followed.
Another key morphological feature in modern Aves is the beak. It is believed the beak originated around 80 million years ago, diversifying many times over this period to form the modern beak we know today. Changes in snout morphology begin at the origin of Aviale, where the premaxillae undergo a relative enlargement and enlarged external nostrils also appear on the snout. Nonetheless, it wasn't until the Ornithurae where the drastic enlargement and fusion of the two premaxillae led to the formation of a beak. Fossils of Ichthyornis suggest they displayed a beak similar to that of modern birds. However, these ancestral avians had teeth similar to that of their theropod ancestors. Toothed beaks are not a feature seen in modern Aves. However, during the development of embryos in modern birds, a transient thickening of the epidermis comparable with that of the early formation of the dental lamina in mice occurs. It has been suggested that this could be a dormant developmental pathway for the formation of teeth in avian ancestors, lost in modern birds due to the evolutionary occurrence of a mutation that has inactivated the pathway. Morphometric studies have indicated that the formation of the beak is the result of multiple evolutionary and ecological factors experienced by ancestral Aves, such as a decrease in body size, pedomorphism, expansion into new ecological niches, and non-dietary factors such as changes in the specific genes active during development as mentioned above.
These have been just a few of many changes that have occurred during the course of avian evolution.